1933 in Provo, Utah. Your father, Joseph Hiram Petersen, was 55 years old. Your mother, Irma Betsy Pace Petersen, was 37 years old. You were the last of 4 boys born to your mother and dad. John, you want to look at the baby? Your dad had been married when he was young, but his wife died, and he had a son and daughter, Carly and Dorothy, who were grown when he married your mother. So living in the house when you were born was Joseph, who was 7 years old and 9 months, Rex, who was 6 years and 3 months, and Lynn, who had his 5th birthday in March. These grandsons are not quite that age, but pretty close. So you get the idea of what Grandpa's family was like when he was the baby. Thank you very much. You got to help on it. Besides eating all the peaches, pears, apricots, cherries, plums, and strawberries you wanted to. You passed it around. We'll have some fruit.
Yeah.
And Grandpa, if you want to say anything about that fruit farm, you just go right ahead.
Oops, sorry.
It was fun.
Did you draw these?
Timmy, I need you to go in the other room.
You'll have to eat her.
Okay, while you're eating the fruit, you can have a couple of them there. You have been blessed since you were born by knowing the gospel of Jesus Christ. Your activity in his church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has been long and varied, beginning with your blessing at age 7½ weeks. That'll be about the same age as John, won't it? David. John and David are going to get mixed up. Not just shut. The day after you turned 8 years old, do we have any 8-year-olds in here so we can see about how big Grandpa was?
7.
7. John and Brian are both 7, right?
I'm 6.
Yeah. Okay. The priesthood was conferred upon you at age 12 when you became a deacon. Your brother Joe was in Italy fighting in the Second World War, so he couldn't be there when you were ordained. At 15, you became a teacher, and at 17, a priest, the usual ages at that time. A week later, on May 7th, 1950, you graduated from seminary, and the next month you left for New York City with the Scouts for the National Scout Jamboree. On the train there, you had a fun experience. I need Craig and Ryan and Jason and John right over here. Sit right down here on the right.
That's the same one. Dad was in mischief.
Ah.
Oh, I got it.
Porcupine eggs.
Okay, now you have to pretend
We can't.
that he is holding cockleburrs. Now you got to say it really loud.
Do you want to bite
Oh,
these
okay.
porcupine eggs? You need this side of Dad's face. Want to bite these porcupine eggs?
No, he doesn't.
You want to bite these porcupine eggs?
No.
You want to bite these porcupine eggs?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said porcupine eggs.
Porcupine eggs.
Yep.
They'll grow into big porcupines. Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, I think we need Dad to say.
Horny toast. The guys in Texas brought horny toast. And we brought those.
Cockleburr. Things you get snack on your day.
Don't you think they grow up to be porcupines?
So how much did you get out of those?
Remember that.
No, they were just used for trading back and forth, so whatever you talk anybody can trade you out.
Oh. That scout trip back to New York, it was a world jamboree. 17 years old. 1 year later, he was getting ready to go to the Idaho Falls Temple to be married. He was ordained an elder, and on the 17th of July, 1951, he was here. But before that, on the 24th of May, 1951, he graduated from Provo High School. Right?
I graduated from BY High School.
Oh, BY High School. Oh. Okay, guys, it was BY High School. Oh, I need as many voices want to come.
If you were there, I don't know where I was.
I went to his graduation. I should have known.
I'm a boy.
By now, your dad was 73 years old and your mom was 55. Still in good health, they took you and your new bride and Rex and Ellen deer hunting.
Machine gun.
Hey, let me see the pheasant.
That's how we got ours this year, was with the machine gun, right? Alrighty, sure.
That night was spent in cutting and wrapping venison steaks and roasts.
What year was that?
This was 1951.
Is that how your kids?
No, see, it was
kids?
September. We got married, but I was still a new bride, July to September.
October, Mom.
October, okay? You began classes at BYU in September of 1951, just before going deer hunting. While still working at All Car Parts Company for Mr. and I couldn't think of his name.
Broken.
For Mr. Wayne Hack. And they used to do fun things like squirt each other with the oil guns.
That business is still operating today, isn't it?
Yeah.
The one on-
300.
On University.
On the university. Yeah.
And put those other two things in. Thank you. April 1st, 1952, Paul Robert Petersen enlisted in the United States Air Force and was saying goodbye to his wife and parents at Fort Douglas in Salt Lake City on his way to California for basic training. Tim?
How long was he gone for?
What for?
Pardon?
How long was he gone for?
Will.
Oh.
I promoted to Airman Second Class in July at the age of 20. Oh, I read that. You became a proud father for the first time. While at Shepherd Field, you did well in your training and became an instructor teaching mechanics how to fix their airplanes. And I wanted you to say something here because I want them to know about that. So is that what you did?
Right. We worked on B-29s. The part that I was working on was engines on B-29. And we would take a class and start. They've already known what the engines were, but we would tear the engines down. We had actual B-29s. We would take the engines off, tear them down, and put them back together and put them back on the airplanes and get in and run them up.
Did it make you fly in them after you put them
I never got into that situation. We just put them together, start them up, and adjust them, and troubleshoot them, and fix them.
This was during the Korean War in Illinois. You're free to correct me on any dates because I wasn't positive.
I don't remember the date. There, I got into the jet engines again. We did some just engine operation and troubleshooting. Had big test cells where we had these engines mounted, and we through a bunch of circuits we could put different troubles into the engine, and then the guys would have to tell us what was wrong with the engine, why it wouldn't run, and it responded. And most of the stuff that I had coming in at that time were guys that had been out on working with airplanes on the lines, and I had some officers come through that they were. So that wasn't too bad. I hadn't even seen the Air Force base other than the training base, and here all these guys that had been working on the planes all the time were coming in, and we were telling them how to troubleshoot. We didn't tear them down, we just troubleshooted them and operated them.
will you stand up just a minute and look at Mike so he can get your picture right there?
I can move around to the front.
I didn't know if it would let. There we go. Okay. Thank you. While you were at Chinook Field, you became the father of a beautiful baby daughter. In your spare time, you were custodian of the church and grounds. The branch president, Bob Mounts, and others said that that was the best the church had ever been taken care of. Bob would help his dad, and Debbie came as a tiny baby. We worked on the lawn some bright mornings.
I had a couple of other places too. There was an architect's office and a doctor's office that I cleaned once a week. Also, that time I put it together, I made about $3 an hour when that was
Big money.
average wages were a lot less than that, but I worked fast enough so we could make about $3 an hour. What we were doing, that was just fair time work.
Here at Champaign, you met a lot of people. One, Merrill Bradshaw, who's an eminent composer now, but then a lowly student at the University of Illinois. Wonderful Mary Freeman, a convert to the church and your landlady, and other very nice people. The 1st of January 1956, Paul Robert Petersen was honorably discharged from the United States Air Force as Staff Sergeant. See the stripes on his. He had been promoted until he was now Staff Sergeant. Now, Jennifer wanted to know how long you were in the service. Wasn't it 3.5 years?
3 years, 9 months, and 1 day.
3 years and 9 months and 1 day, Jennifer.
Like somebody's been pregnant.
Should we clap for that?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What's the staff sergeant do? What is that?
Well, that was just an E5.
Is that 5 ranks? Or
That's 5 promotions.
5 promotions, that's
Yeah,
in 3 years?
Nicole.
9 months.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll stand right.
Oh, we went back. Come here, now, stand by. You were there. Yeah, okay. Okay, Candace, I need you and Nicole so we can see how old Uncle Bob and Aunt Debbie were. You took your 3.5-year-old son Robert and a 1.5-year-old Debbie on the train back to Provo, Utah.
She's too shy.
Come here, Nicole, so they can see how big Uncle Bob was. Yeah, he was about this as big as you.
Yeah, on the train it was go back on New Year's Day and it crowded. They gave us 2 seats and we thought they were together and they went across the aisle from each other.
How long did it take?
We got
Forever.
next year.
Seemed like forever with 2 little kids.
It wasn't, maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I don't
It was about 24.
I just remember being on the train with those 2 little kids.
So we had to talk to whoever had the seat next to us out on it. But then there wasn't anybody in the outside seat until we got quite a ways out of Chicago and then they stopped. They were picked up there and talked. And I stayed at the men's restroom most of the time. It was room to sit down. Yeah, the restroom.
That's why I don't remember if he was on
An area with where there's seats around and you can sit there, sort of a small room or something on the train.
Seems like
So
there was
we
quite a
put
bit.
the kids to sleep in the extra seat. And I go over there, sit with the kids.
You were 22.5 years old. How old are you, Kurt? You 22.5? Okay, so that gives you,
Wow.
And he probably was that tall.
that gives you an idea. 2 little kids and ready to try BYU again. Dad got out of the service early so he could go to BYU. After a couple more quarters, you decided to give up college and get a job with Brother Joe and Ephraim Hatch building houses. Oh, okay, boys.
Not even a down.
Hey, thanks, guys. Was Elders Quorum president and welcomed your 3rd child, David, an early Christmas present and tax deduction. When the building business went into a slump, Mr. Hatch went bankrupt and you became unemployed. This was the impetus to sell your house, use your GI Bill, and return to school, this time to graduate. During these difficult years, ages 25 through 28, you did do some fun things besides studying. You built a tote boat and with a friend used it to haul building supplies to the top of Timpanogos Mountain. That's not quite accurate, but almost, right?
Is that the old tugboat we had in Granger that we used to use?
And didn't you use that particular tote boat?
We built it over at school. There's 5 on this building. We got one from Barnum Corporation who had designed it and brought it out there, and then we just bought all the parts and bent stuff and put it together.
Okay. You built a go-kart with your son Robert, and you had lots of fun with that. And in the summer, spent some time in the canyons fishing and picnicking with your growing family. For now, your second daughter, Laurie, was part of the family. Susie, will you read Debbie's letter at this point, please?
I'll show it to you. So I have the greatest dad in the whole world. I have always been proud of you. I have always been thankful that my father holds the priesthood. I love you, Dad. I'm going to cry reading this. I have had a great time remembering about my dad. There are so many great stories and so many funny stories. I remember how we used to con you into getting us ice cream whenever we would go to Provo on any other day than Sunday. I remember how strong your arms felt when you lifted me up to say goodbye to Grandpa. I don't even know why I'm crying. Lifted me up to say goodbye to Grandpa and getting to stand beside you in Grandpa's parade. I remember that, the comfort that I received from your blessing when I had the most terrible earaches growing up. I remember the Christmas that you were the hero and found my doll where Santa had hid it in the hide-a-bed chair couch, and how generous you were to have to the family my mutual class was subbed for Santa for. I was so proud you were my dad. I remember what a great high council speaker you were. I was so proud that you were my dad. Even when we lived back in Maryland and you were in the branch presidency, and how whenever the speakers didn't show up or if they had an important subject, Dad always got to do the talking. I love to hear you speak. Do you remember the time that you let me and Laurie put the wig on your head and we made up your eyes? I remember that. And you even let us take a picture. I love to go camping with Dad. I don't know how you always could find the greatest spots to camp. Even the times when it didn't look like the Cadillac would make it over the roads. It sounds like snobby people. When make it over the roads, you still would find the neat places. I remember how great it was to tag along fishing in the small streams with you, scaring the fish but having a blast. We really tried to be quiet. I guess I can't pick out my favorite memory or experience that I have, but it sure is fun getting to create new ones to add to them, like seeing the birds in Hawaii and riding waves. Love, Deb. Sorry I cried.
To help provide food and clothes for your family, you worked part-time in the cookery, making delicious salads, and learning to be a really good cook. Thank you.
Oh,
During the summers, you worked as a carpenter. One year, you worked early and late on the building of the Helaman Halls, making enough money to scrape by another year at BYU. You were a blessing to your oldest son when he contracted rheumatic fever at age 7, and you supported your wife while she served as Relief Society president. The last year at YU Village, you were a very efficient Sunday school president. In May 1961, at the age of 28, you graduated from BYU. You have your little thing. You graduated from BYU with a Bachelor of Engineering Science degree. Hooray! You began your long career working for Hercules Powder Company. You became daddy to your 5th child, Michael. You moved your family to the Granger 6th Ward. The first year, you traveled a lot for the company. Okay. Any little kids want to sit right here in a circle a minute? 5. 5. Let's see, Greg, I need you in this one because I gotta have somebody as old as you. And Katie, you sit down here too. We gotta have a couple of girls. Candace, you want to come sit here too? 2, 4, 5. Yeah, we gotta have. Okay. Susie, I think I wanted you to do yours right now.
Okay, I'm not going to read mine. No. I was remembering, a lot I could remember was when I was 4 or 5 in Granger, and how excited me and Chris were every payday. You'd take us in your bedroom and sit down on your bed and give us $1.
And it was a silver dollar.
Yeah, it was a
wasn't
silver
it?
dollar.
Yeah, silver dollar.
And then you would apologize when you didn't have a silver dollar and give us just a regular dollar and say it's okay and this is still the same. It's just not round.
Hey, that's not fair. James and I never got a silver dollar, did
Seems to me like you all got one.
I think you and James
to everybody.
we? We
You
probably
guys got
did.
5 or something like that.
You spent yours too fast.
Yeah.
And when you'd go on business trips and you'd always bring me and Chris home in a perfume or those miniature cradles that were no bigger than that with little teeny babies, and we'd make diapers for them. And one time, I remember it's really clear, you brought us home these knit dresses, and Mom let us wear them till they were mini skirts on us. They were really matched. They were really, yeah. We were surprised Dad had such good taste.
I wasn't surprised because when we were first married, he bought me 3 of the most beautiful dresses for Christmas. He's always had
They
good
were
taste.
really pretty. And I always like to brag about you. You were fun. You were very tall and you intimidated everybody. And so it was really fun when I was dating. But I knew if I brought him home that I could just like, this is my dad. Look at him.
I don't know. Let's ask Brett. Were you intimidated?
Yes, he wasn't. But
Maybe the first time.
Yeah, first time.
yeah, I remember. He was like, hi, looking up to you. And Brett I asked him what he remembered and how excited you were when you finally got the pins done and when you finally got the roof on, and he can hardly help to wait to finish get your driveway in.
Thank you, Susie.
Mhm.
The next year, I found you in a new house, the house on the hill. You subcontracted some of the building and painting yourself. You enjoyed living here, working on a new chapel in the evenings, going pheasant hunting, and doing your church callings. Elders, quorum president again, helping activate inactive people. In January of 1964, you presented your family with the challenge of leaving Utah and going to Maryland. You accepted a transfer to ABL rather than become one of the unemployed. Is that accurate?
Close.
Close.
3 then.
Thus began the time of our lives known as Back in Maryland. And only Mike and James were ever back in Maryland of this group. During the year, we lived in, and what was the name of the place where we lived, honey? Bel Air, okay. You served as a counselor in the branch presidency, saw the dedication of the new chapel, baptized your son David, traveled to Washington, D.C., to Niagara Falls, the pageant of Palmyra, Gettysburg, and other historic places. Okay, stand up, guys. Robert was 11. Craig, you're 11. Okay, so Robert was 11. Deb was 9. We don't have any 9-year-olds. Laurie, Dave was 8. Okay, John, you and Brian are almost 8. Laurie was 5. And Jason's a little older than 5. Oh, Katie, are you almost 5? She's 4.
4.5.
Okay. So Laurie was only about as old as Katie. Mike was 3. Nicole, are you 3? That's how old Uncle Mike was when Grandpa lived back in Maryland. And James was not a year old. So
That me? No.
he was just about that
Wait.
big. Not quite that old. Not quite that old, or a little bit older than that, I meant to say, when we left to go back there. And shirt. I think, is that where we forgot Dave once? I'm not sure we got all the way home though. You and Elna were 31 years old. Anybody in here 31? No one.
I feel like it.
How old are you, Mike?
29.
29.
Yeah, he's going to be 30
years older
this
than you?
next year. 30.
As we stayed in motels and ate in restaurants crossing the country, people did stare. We were a good-looking family.
That's why these guys are looks, yeah.
Gotcha. You have to look at these kids. Thank you, guys. The kids went swimming, enjoyed the pony, built huts and go-karts, and played in the leaves with our black Cocker Spaniel Lee. The weather was not particularly conducive to our good health, and we were glad to be transferred back to Utah.
The dog's name was Snook.
Snookers. Oh, that wasn't Lee. That was Snookers.
We had a black dog named
Okay.
We got a black dog named Snookers.
You moved your family into the house at 3700 Baden Avenue, where we lived for the next 7 years. And Mike, I need you to come with me.
I'm gonna hold that mic.
That's one.
I think he's getting tired. I'm really tired. Oh.
Okay?
Do you want me to read it for you?
No, I got this.
Oh, okay.
When I think of Dad and my experiences with him, I think of the two phases in my life. When I was young and now being an adult. I couldn't have asked for a better father. I think of the many fun things we did when I was younger. I remember all the fathers and sons outings we went on. One year we missed going because Dad had to take Mom to the hospital. They brought Cindy or Chris home. I don't remember which one it was. I was mad because I couldn't go camping that year.
He still holds a grudge.
That was probably Chris. Yeah, I remember the fun family campouts we went on, where we'd go hiking and fishing, and the times we'd slide down the snow glaciers. So at the bottom, we'd always find the pile of rocks that we'd have to dodge as we were doing about 40 miles an hour. Also, the Saturday fishing trips. Sometimes they'd take just James and I. Sometimes they'd take Laurie, James and I, or Dave, Laura. And those were always fun. I remember going to Flaming Gorge and rafting down the Green River, catching some of the biggest fish in my life on that river. I remember one time we even went to a sacrament meeting over at Flaming Gorge. They had a little chapel there. All the campers went to church in their grubbies, and I think it was a fasting testimony. That was a really good experience also. I think of the long trips we'd take going to Idaho or to Arizona, and the radio would get staticky. And Dad would still be whistling to the song that was on the radio. I remember his whistles. Another fun time was the first time I shot a pheasant right out here, not too far from the house. Dad was there with me. He said, "Get ready, there's a bird in these bushes." So I got ready, and out came the bird, and I got the bird, my very first pheasant. Those are only a few of the many fun times I had as I was growing up. Through those experiences and many others, Dad taught me a lot of important things in life. The importance of the gospel, good values, being honest, and many other things that I've learned by his example. Sometimes I didn't listen to him, and I learned some things the hard way. I appreciate the support that I received while I was on my mission, not only financially, but spiritually through his prayers and letters. Now that I am a little older, I look back and I can see what he was trying to teach me, and I can use all of it to help me get through the rest of my life. My kids now are enjoying going to Grandpa's house. One day Katie was doing something at our house, doing some coloring. Not exactly sure what she was doing. She says, "I need to show this to Grandpa."
She's coloring.
So Dad, I want to thank you for all the fun times that I had when I was growing up, and for moving from Granger. I had in parentheses. Enjoyed growing up here in Riverton.
where did I get to? Suzanne and Christina and Cindy were all babies at the house at 3700 Bodden Avenue. The older kids were teenagers going to high school and junior high. You and your boys worked hundreds of hours on the new church. You got your first taste of politics, being a delegate to the State Republican Convention. You donated blood to the Heart Association. I think we'll skip that facing since David is so. Is it okay? Do you want to give him to James? Graphics help kids. Okay. Okay, Brett. Just use the middle of the floor there.
Use the middle of the floor. You want me to lay down?
Okay.
I think, isn't that the way you do it?
You want to take away lay down? Give me something to squeeze.
Give me that syringe. Oh, here.
Jappy.
Not so hard.
Better take care of you here.
And your grandpa did that, how many times, Grandpa, do you remember?
I don't know, I've got over 60.
Here.
Fine.
Baby doll.
Relax, Mr. We're taking a station. Here's your blood.
Okay, that's fine, you just keep doing that. Dad thinks it's been about 60 pints
Better than a child when
60
you've been late.
over the years.
Another pun.
Yeah. And I have a thank you card, but I was running out of time and I couldn't find it, from a man who wrote to him and said, "Thank you very much for the blood." He had open heart surgery and he needed Dad's blood. And he really appreciated it. So that was an important factor, and he's only stopped doing it just this past year. But ever since that, you can donate blood every 30 days, every 60 days, and that's just about what it was. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're a good nurse.
Black and blue mark on
You still did lots of traveling for the company, and after being worked for several years, you were called to the Jordan North High Council at the age of 37 and served for 2 years until you moved. And who has Dave's letter? James, is that yours? This is from Dave.
I'm thankful for the best dad in the world who taught me correct and true principles through example. One thing that stands out in my mind is his willingness to serve on well-filled projects. Anytime our ward had an assignment to hoe beets, pick corn, or harvest peas, Dad always planned on us boys going with him. At times he would have me call the rest of the boys in my corn and we would pick them up. Nearly every time we would be one of the last groups to leave so that we made sure the assignment was finished. Dad always said that we should volunteer our services because we never knew when we might need help. Dad was right. Another thing I remember was when Dad bragged about me going down the Green River backwards over the biggest rapids without falling over. It was when Dad was the explorer leader and I was a deacon, just tagging along. I had my own kayak and I sure didn't remember getting turned around, but it was scary. It made me feel good when Dad bragged about me. I'm thankful that Dad taught me how to work by giving me assignments around the house and yard. It was fun helping to build the barn, put up the fence. I remember cutting the phone line a couple of times and digging the trenches for the water line. I was always bringing home old junk vehicles to work on, and Dad never got irritated, but would let me work in his garage. It's not so much the big things, but all the little things that add up to make me appreciate my dad. Thankful for his continual love and support, and for accepting me for who I am. I'm thankful for his quiet reserve and his wisdom. Thanks, Dad. Love, Dave.
In 1972, 18 years ago, you bought a lovely new home in Riverton, Utah, and moved your family from Granger, where so many growing experiences happened, to this acre farm where Timothy was born and and where the children would grow up and leave for marriages and missions and colleges and all these things to be paid for. Dad, thanks for everything. Thanks for supporting me through school with love and money. I love you a lot. I am very glad you are my dad. That was from Christina, but it represented more than Christina. Here you taught your kids and had fun with them. Okay, James, will you read your letter? And Laurie's.
I think
You
I'm
don't
gonna.
have yours?
No, I have it. I just
Oh,
want
you just want to talk?
Yeah, I'm just gonna skip the letter and just. I think this is a great idea, and a lot of neat memories have come to mind. My letter was really short, and
It was good.
I know, but there's so much more than just what I put in the letter that means that Dad means to me, and I'm grateful for him. And like Dave said in his, he's taught us how to work and the importance of service. And Mike brought up a lot of the fun memories that we've had, and I think you're the greatest dad. And I appreciate the example you've been in my life. To see how somebody's supposed to treat their wife and to be there for their kids. And I just give you thanks for that. And one thing I'm really looking forward to is following in your footsteps in the career world and having that part of you with me.
Thank you, James.
Gosh, where's the Kleenex box?
Okay, Dad paused a moment in the family room where we were lying on the floor watching Saturday morning cartoons. He continued walking upstairs and made a return trip to the basement of our Riverton home. He tinkered in his dark room for a while. The music from a Hostess commercial had aired several times that morning. The jingle was something to do with parents who really love their kids. Show it by giving them Twinkies. You kids know that's not true, don't you? Your mother and I love you, and we don't need Twinkies to show it. It's for people that don't know what love's about. Twinkies are junk food and nothing to do with love. They're not even good for you. You kids know that, don't you? Dad said. We nodded. Just wanted to make sure you kids know that because we love you. And this is not exactly a quote. It's what's left in my brain. It's what's left in my memory after several replays throughout my life. Dad turned and went back into his dark room. We turned to each other. What's gotten into Dad? After a brief council, we all decided he just really loves us. This is a fun memory. I know my parents love me, but then I really felt it. I enjoyed soaking up the feeling. Dad smiled a lot that day. We smiled a lot that day. My tall, strong, busy father was pausing in his busy day to teach his kickback kids about love. Taking time to share his feelings. That's one of my favorite memories. Love, Larry.
This house became a hospitable home for family, relatives, and friends, often becoming an overnight stopping place. Thank you for your hospitality and love that you share with us whenever we come your way. I've never been in a more welcoming home as yours. Thank you again. God bless Tammy, Connor's sister. And if we could have heard from Terry Lemon, he would have said thanks too. Here you became a ward clerk again, helping put the records on the computer. Were called to the church clerk task committee to go into Salt Lake. Sunday school president, teacher for high priest, and the high priest group. A worker at the Jordan River Temple and an extractor for the genealogy program. You have done much appreciated family history and genealogy work. Dear Paul, please accept my deep appreciation for the superb work that you accomplished as part of meetings of the Pace Society and the Pace Pioneer Family Reunions. I was impressed by your dedication and devotion to the cause and by the results that you achieved. to meet you and I thank you most kindly. With best regards, Wayne Pace. There's another one here. Dear Paul, thank you so much for doing this special favor for me. It helps so much with my genealogy. Lucy. In 1980, you entered politics again, running for city councilman. Dear Paul, we want to extend our thanks for the fine way you have represented our group. We know that it has been difficult to present our case at those town meetings. We hope to continue working with you. Sincerely, Galen Johnson, Marie Johnson, Christine Savage, Jonas, Carol David, Andresen, Lowell Lee White, Nan White, Jackie Lester, and William Lester. Many persons have commented on the good job you have done and were particularly impressed with your letter. You joined the Pheasant Club and won prizes for the best birds. Okay, grandkids.
Here's all of the awards and ribbons that he won.
That's only some.
That's just
That's
some
just
of them.
some.
Here's a small portion of that, and there's a whole bunch more up there. They're from Utah pheasant shows.
That's where they're all from.
They're all from Utah pheasant shows.
Thank you, Kurt.
Yay!
You entered a taxidermy exhibition, took pictures at weddings and church socials. Oh, you want to show those? All right, show them all. John, do you want to just hold that for a minute? Be Grandpa taking pictures. And Fran, would you read yours over to me? Oh.
I really enjoyed getting to know Dad these past 3 years. Being a new parent again causes me to appreciate the 10 children he raised. Amazes me. And I'm not just saying that, it amazes me. In particular, I really appreciated Dad for the gracious, comfortable way he has included John and I into the family. From the time James and I announced our engagement, he has always been there with a hello and offered to take our family photo, wedding engagement photos, or just to have us at the house. Also, through his talents with birds, we've all enjoyed many moments with bird eggs and the birth of chicks. I am grateful for this opportunity to tell him we all love him very much at the James Petersen house. Always will.
You could read John's too. Oh.
I love Grandpa. I love the birds he shares with us, especially the baby chicks. David says,
I love you, Grandpa.
You took trips with Elma to England for the company, Canada to pick up James from his mission, and to Hawaii with Ben and Debbie. You have worked continuously for Hercules Incorporated, as it is now known, for a period of 29 years. Your co-workers appreciate you. Your company has honored you as a cost crusader, and I don't know how many times. 4, 3? 3 times as cost crusader, which means that he saved the company a lot of money by coming up with ideas. You have received thank you notes from boys who have learned taxidermy from you or who have gotten birds. Let's see. Dear Mr. Petersen, thank you for the peacock. I was away on a scout trip, and it was exciting to get home to see them. From Nathan. From missionaries for donations to their missions. David Cox. Thank you so much for your support of my mission. I will put the donation to good work in teaching others. From children for loans of money or help. Thanks for the brake job, Dad. I really appreciate it. It's so nice to be able to stop when I need to.
Who's that from?
That's from Kathy.
How'd you know I was gonna? That was really nice.
If there's anything else you wanted to say, Kathy, this would be a good place while I look for my next.
Okay, I didn't really write anything, but I just always appreciated how I was welcomed into the family as a daughter, and especially that great job. Time is really valuable, and you know, you took your whole day to do that for me. I really appreciated that. And all the time that you spent with my kids, I appreciate that too.
You have a wife who loves you, 10 children who admire you, sons and daughters-in-law who are grateful for you, and 24 grandchildren who couldn't do without you. This is your life.
Okay, how about my Cindy story?
Thanks,
You
everybody.
didn't forgot that.
We
Now
didn't
let's
do
do what I
time.
said.
I didn't have it written down, I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't write it down.
Yes, and we have to do that. So,
Chris is there first.
did you want to say something first? Oh, you didn't read yours.
Yeah, you
So
didn't
this
read
was,
it.
okay, this isn't quite your life yet. Okay, we gotta have the rest of it. Okay, Chris, and then Cindy, and then Tim.
Okay, I have a lot of memories besides just the one I wrote down. I just wrote down one because I felt like it really helped me a lot. I'm gonna cry. Yeah. This was when I was a teenager and I was going through a really rough time in my life. And I was about 15 or 16, and I was going to run away from home, and I was really going to run away from home this time. I'd threatened before, but this time I was really going to do it. And I had my bags packed and everything, and I was the only one in the house at the time. Everyone else was outside, and right before I walked out the door, Dad came into the house. And he asked me where I was going, and, you know, I told him I was going to run away. And he said, well, come sit down on the couch first, and let's talk about it. And so we sat down, and he told me of all the things that could happen to me if I ran away. And I'm sure you probably all know what he said. And then the thing that stuck with me all the time, because I don't remember all the things he told me before of why not to run away, but the thing that really stuck with me is that he told me that he loved me too much to let those things happen to me. And he gave me a big hug, and so I decided to stay. And now throughout my life, whenever I'm having a hard time or I think nobody loves you or something, I always remember Dad just telling me that he really loves me, and that it really helps me through my problems. So thanks, Dad.
I remember when you did run away. You made it come back to that green box out there with your blanket.
I was about 8 years old.
You were about 7 or 8 years old then.
Susie was just coming back, wasn't she?
Yeah, passed each other on the way.
When Mom hurt my feelings, she goes, well, you better take a sleeping bag.
You want to know something? I don't know how Mom and Dad made it with you two, period.
Okay, Cindy.
Okay.
All right. Well, I remember lots of things. I think the earliest memory that I have is helping Dad with the birds. He always let me help him gather eggs, and it was so much fun. I remember he used to have the little doors, the little things that the birds went through, the little holes to the barn. And he'd dig under it just to make it a little more room, and then I'd crawl through and get all the eggs out in the pens. And that was just so much fun. I loved it. But that's the earliest memory I have, and it's fun to think back on it. And then I remember Dad taking me to Disneyland. It was so much fun. Dad had to go to California on business, and the airline was doing under 12. You fly free with being an adult. So he took me with him, and I went and visited David, Tana, and Mike was there too. And then we stayed there a couple of days, and on my last day there, I think Dad got passes from the people at work to go to Disneyland, and we spent the day at Disneyland, and he bought me the Minnie Mouse. It was just so much fun.
We were jealous.
And then another thing that really stands out is, since I'm so accident prone, Dad's always there to comfort me. At the hospital, it was really nice. Because every night he'd come and visit, and I could hear him walking down the hall because he wears coverings, and so I knew he'd come, and then he'd just sit by the bed and hold my hand. We wouldn't have to say nothing or anything, but his hand holding mine was just really comforting. he's done that a lot. I remember in kindergarten I had to get my shots, and the one, it was really, I don't know what one it was, but it hurt so bad I couldn't move my arm. And Dad would take me for walks, and I always remember that comforting feeling of him being there. And his hands, they're so big, and they just engulf mine. But it's so nice. And his hugs, that's another thing that I'm looking for in a guy, is his hugs. They have to be like Dad's, because Dad gives the best hugs. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Cindy.
I'm thankful that Dad would always take me on them fathers and sons trips, and we would always spend some time together. That's all.
What about the hike up?
Oh yeah. I'm glad that he came with me on the Timpanogos hike. 'Cause I was long, and I don't think I was going to make it. That's all.
I'm out for upgrading that golf game too.
Mindy, did you or Shelley want to say anything? You're older.
Well, I always remember the weekends we come, we spend a whole week up here, and it was fun. And I remember you taking us out to see the birds and all the Christmases and all that fun stuff. Thank you.
Well, I just remembered when we went on the family reunions, and you would help us set up the tents and everything, and then you would take us out to show us the birds and everything. I really like that. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm really thankful that you'd spend time with us when you're camping and show us how to start fires and stuff like that. And when me and Tim helped you clean out that bird pen, it was just a fun experience.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all this good information.
Brian says,
Appreciate it.
for all of us, we love you.
I love all of you. I'm glad you're all part of the family.
Thank you so much. Let's have a hand for everybody. And I know Brett and Susie have to go. Oh, Michael.
You gotta give me the cue. They even talk the same.
You did that to drink.